Hello and welcome back, or welcome if you are just joining for this session, the first session of your day. My name is Valerie Stimick, and I want to extend a huge welcome to the Alaska Summer Travel Summit for 2021. It has been an incredible day so far. I have just had my brain jammed full of incredible information about visiting Alaska, and we have still one more session, which I think is going to just round out everything you need to know to plan your Alaska trip this summer. So a couple of things I want to point out first. If you're not familiar with me, I run a travel blog called Valerie and Valise. I write about bucket list travel in the American West, which obviously includes Alaska. And part of the reason I love promoting Alaska travel is that I actually grew up there and I visited many times since. I offer custom Alaska itineraries through my website. So if you need a little extra help finishing your trip this year, just reach out to me. You should have a lot of emails from me at this point because of the event, and I can help get you started on that process. In terms of housekeeping, you can always put your questions in the chat, which may be somewhere around this screen on YouTube. It might be around the side. It might be down at the bottom. And I think there's one more thing. That's it. We will come back at the end and do Q&A. So if you ask questions, we'll come back to them at the end and do a big session. We will also do a drawing for 3 prize packs. So over the course of the day, we didn't actually have enough time to give them all away. So we will be working to give them away at the end of the session. And as a reminder, if you are a day of attendee, you must be present to win. So just stay tuned. We've only got one more session left, and then you'll be all set. I'm going to now jump in and introduce our speakers and bring them on to the chat. Here they come. This is such an incredible panel. So we're talking all about Southeast Alaska. And I think at one point my face is going to get covered by a logo, but that's okay because you're not here to see me. You're here to see them. You're here to learn from them. There we go. Okay. So to introduce everyone, you can see their little faces on the side, and I just want to have you wave when I say your name. So to start out, we'll have Kara from Travel Juneau. We will then have Patty from Visit Ketchikan. Liz, who will be representing Alaska's Rainforest Islands. Lori is from Visit Sitka, and Wendy from the Skagway CVB. All right, and we have until the top of the hour. So you have about, I think we said about 7-8 minutes or so to cover your destination. Please keep that in mind so we have time for questions at the end, because I know we already received some by email. We want to make sure we can get to them, and we want to do some giveaways. And with that, I will turn it over to Kara.
Hi. Thank you for doing this, Valerie, and thanks for having Juneau involved. And it's nice to see my Southeast friends over here in the corner. Hey, guys. So I guess I'll just roll into this. Do I just click the play from here, or do I? Oh,
yeah. Sorry, that's me. Just tell me whenever you want something to happen.
Okay. Sorry.
Are you ready?
Yeah, let's, well, I guess I should say a little something about Juneau, first. So Juneau, we're the capital of Alaska. We're located in Southeast Alaska, which is, I think, this whole crowd here. We have flights that come in regularly from both Anchorage and Seattle, and both of those flights are about 2 to 2.5 hours, depending on which direction you come from. And we also have our ferry system, and then we have smaller cruise ships here coming up here pretty soon. And then we have, which I think you guys just had a cruise ship panel, right? So I'm sure you guys heard all about that. And yeah, then we've got a lot of float planes, a way to get into the Southeast. Oftentimes people will fly into Juneau and then use that sort of as the hub, and then kind of from there go into some of these other smaller communities. Of course, there's other communities that have direct flights as well, from Alaska Airlines as the main company that comes in. And then we have Delta that comes in the summertime, I believe, this year as well. So on that, I'll just show you, I guess, start the film, please, and highlight a little stuff about Juneau.
Choose your direction. Your hike could end at a glacier, a waterfall, a beach, or a brewery. Here we have views that rival Norway or Iceland, but this place is only a 2-hour flight north of Seattle. There are flat trails, steep trails, or some quicker ways to the top. Juneau is a coastal mountain town with over 250 miles of hiking trails. Come see for yourself.
So there's our trails. We do have 250 miles of trails, which is about 41 miles of road. So we have more trails than road typically, or not typically, but yes, you can kind kind of get into a trail very easily from anywhere from downtown. A lot of people will stay, not have to worry about renting a car. Many of the excursions that you can go on will pick you up from downtown. Some will pick you up from your hotel room. We also do have cars to rent as well, so you can get around yourself. I'm trying to see this a little larger. Let's see. Yeah, so I've got some resources on here. The Juneau Cares program is something that we have started since the pandemic, and we received a city grant that allowed us to work to facilitate the reopening of Juneau as a destination for visitors. So we worked with our partners to try to consider their mitigation plans of reopening and how they're going to kind of make sure that the community and the visitors are all safe and healthy, and kind of follow all of those plans to make everybody comfortable with reopening the city. So we've done that. I think that is on here. I guess next slide. Those are just some resources for you guys to check out. So yeah. Accommodations and experiences for 2021. So we don't have any new accommodations this year, but our Silverboat Inn has been around for quite a while. It's located downtown, has a rooftop hot tub. They have opened up a couple of new renovated rooms. So they're apartment style. They're really nice. They all have kitchenettes, great views. It's really modern. That'll be opening up this summer. So it's now Silverboat Inn and Suites. I think since I actually put this slide together, they've officially changed their name because they have those really nice suites. So again, great location to all the food and dining, and our distillery and the breweries right downtown as well. So it's great, all the shopping. We have the things that we know are going to be happening. Obviously, the pandemic year is affecting a lot of our tourism, but what we are going to still have is the fishing, whale watching. We have a variety of companies that are already doing some of this. Some people have had their boats in the water all winter long, water taxi kind of thing, but you also get a lot of wildlife viewing experiences. The trails are our local nonprofit organization called Trail Mix. They've really been working hard all last summer throughout the pandemic in the winter, really updating a lot of those trails and adding some new features and things like that. So that is really nice. The dining scene, our restaurants are open. So some of them look a little different, a little smaller seating, but everything's ready to go. You can, if you're more comfortable, the to-go is an option as well. But yeah, we still got all the great food that we've always had. And we've got 3 breweries downtown, 1 distillery, and it does gin, and they've just most recently been working on some whiskey. So they've been releasing some whiskey, which is a lot of fun. And most of our restaurants and dining and distilleries and breweries, they all use really localized ingredients like spruce tips or things that they're going to get, which really makes it unique and a good experience to try. And then we, of course, have Alaskan Brewing, which has a tasting room, not located downtown, but still very convenient to the Mendenhall Glacier if you're going to go out and check out that. And a lot more people are familiar with Alaskan Brewing, but they're all craft breweries here, and they're all a lot of fun, and they all work together and things. So that's good. We have a kayak rental that's going to be going in May, so you can come in and rent those. And that same company this year is introducing some stand-up paddle Pilates and yoga, which is going to be really fun. Above and Beyond Alaska. I think they're doing it in Auk Lake for anybody who's familiar with the area. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it'll be really cool. And we're looking forward to, I am personally looking forward to doing that. I can barely stand up on my sup board, so I'm ready to, just totally fall in the water when I do that. But it'll be a great experience, I'm sure. Next slide, please.
I think that's it.
That's it. All right.
Perfect.
Well, this is Miss Patty here. So thank you guys for having me.
Thank you. All right, Patty, it's all you.
Hey, just making sure my mic is on. Hi, everyone. It's so nice to see all these faces, and just like everybody who's here today, I have that pent-up desire to travel, especially to see my counterparts throughout Southeast, because all of our communities are special and each has fun and unique things to do. I'd like to take just a couple minutes to share a little bit about my hometown of Ketchikan. So if Valerie would like to start the video, we'll just go right there.
It is a close-knit community. You know, I don't know whether we've all run from something or we've all run to something, but we're all here.
Traditional is right up out of the roots of this country. If you want to look at cultural art as an influence in society, you're going to see it everywhere.
I get a lot of people saying this is the best times they've had in their lives.
Southeast Alaska, God's country. Ketchikan's the heart of it all.
If you're looking out the window, you're not going to want your money back.
It's unlike anything else in the world, and they get to see stuff here they wouldn't see anywhere.
If you're proud of your background, you reflect yourself well with people. You become an ambassador. So that's our hope, that they enjoy their stay and they learn something about us.
I never get tired of seeing that video. It's always a really nice little kind of a snapshot into our community. And if you saw the website there, you'll see that posted several times. Visit-ketchikan.com is the place to go to get information, including the latest on COVID guidelines and practices. We have been really fortunate in Alaska, and I'm sure you've heard this from other panelists today in terms of the epidemic did not hit us as hard as it's hit other places. And because there's more trees and more animals than people, we offer a place that I think a lot of travelers will feel is a safe destination for them this year. But if you want more information about what you need to know before you come to Alaska, you can check it out at our website. Plus, we link right up to the state site too. So plenty of information there. Next slide. So what's going on? And you know, not a lot of new things this year. I think people are kind of holding on to their purse strings with the pandemic and just kind of waiting to see what happens with the season. But I will say that as far as accommodations go, we've got something for everyone, whether you're looking for a quaint little beach cabin that's a getaway from it all, or a full service hotel or an inn. There's a lot of variety in Ketchikan. And then of course also because of the salmon fishing, and which is one of the most popular things people do when they come to Alaska, we've got a lot of lodges and resorts as well. So when we talk about Ketchikan experiences for everyone, the outdoor adventure that's available because of our geographic location in the heart of the Tongass National Forest means lots of opportunities to hike and fish and see wildlife. I think the video portrays for you very well the native cultural assets that we have here. And so you'll have plenty of opportunity to see for yourself the world's largest collection of totems. We have well over 100 poles in locations all over town. If you come to Ketchikan, you will definitely see a totem pole or two or three. And we also are the home of the Totem Heritage Center, which is a really unique venue where poles were actually rescued from abandoned village sites in the 1970s. And that gives us poles that date back as much as 200 years old, something that's unheard of because most poles were allowed to disintegrate into the ground. So a real appreciation here for Native culture. And of course, shopping and dining, all that great Alaska seafood. There's plenty for us, and we want to share it with you. And every restaurant in town is going to offer it one way or another. So you'll get a chance to try salmon and crab and halibut. And then our shopping is great. We have a lot of artists in Ketchikan and several artist-owned galleries. So many of which carry work, not only their work, but also local artists and Alaskan artists as well. Lots of fun retail and specialty shops, and just all kinds of fun things to see and do while you're here. So as Kara mentioned, you know, because of the cruise ship situation, we know some of our larger businesses that really depend on high volume for visitors will not be open this year, but we have a lot of smaller, medium-sized businesses that will be able to provide lots of experiences. So we encourage you to contact us if you have any questions, or of course, check our website for the latest information on operations for those companies. And don't forget, we do have air service. Alaska Airlines is actually expanding their flight schedule with flights that are coming back over Memorial Day weekend. That's also when Delta starts its summer season. And then Alaska's adding an additional flight in mid-July to help deal with all the folks that are coming up to fish. And we've got our ferry service as well coming out of Bellingham, Washington every week. So opportunities to ferry up and back or do a ferry fly combo if you're interested in something like that. And then finally, a new event, Race Around Revilla, which is our island that we live on. This is going to be beginning on Friday, August 13th. And we are welcoming folks to come and race their boats, human powered. We'll have different classes available. Registration begins next month on April 15th. And again, we'll have information on our website. So with that, I'm going to stop and let things continue on so you can hear more about our great region. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you, Patty. Okay, now we're going to turn it over to Liz for the Rainforest Islands.
Hi, everyone, and thank you, Valerie, for putting this together. It's fun to see familiar faces. My name is Liz Cabrera, and I'm representing Alaska's Rainforest Islands. Just to orient yourself, we are literally in the middle of what is commonly known the Inside Passage. It's a group of small communities, predominantly Petersburg and Wrangell. We are small towns. Petersburg is about 3,200 people. Wrangell has about 2,500 people. Even so, we do get service from Alaska Airlines, and so we are not a very difficult place to reach from Seattle. We also connect to Juneau as well, so we have 2 flights a day coming in. We're also served by the Alaska Ferry System out of Bellingham. So really small communities, but not that hard to reach. I think one of the things that attracts people to our region is independent travelers, especially who want a more intimate experience in Alaska. A lot of times in Petersburg, you might literally be the only one on the stream. You might be the only one on the trail. And that's a really special experience. Most of our operators, our tour guides, are folks that have lived here 20 plus years and live here year round. So you're not going to come here and leave without making some friends for sure. I would point out we also have some claims to fame, especially in Wrangell, where John Muir visited many years ago and declared the Stikine River, which flows out in between Petersburg and Wrangell, the Yosemite of Alaska. One of the fabulous things you can do is take a jet boat ride up the Stikine River, which is exciting and just really spectacular. LeConte Glacier, which is close to Petersburg, is North America's southernmost tidewater glacier. Puts out an incredible amount of icebergs, and they get caught in a tidal flat. And so you can actually walk around among the icebergs. We also have tours where you can paddle around the icebergs. Pretty spectacular. Lots of wilderness, lots of wildlife. Frederick Sound near Petersburg is one of the best places in the world to view humpback whales. A few years ago, actually did charter out with some family, and we were watching humpback whales bubble net feed. And if you haven't ever seen that, I encourage you to Google it. It's a cooperative feeding behavior that the whales do. And it was our boat and the National Geographic crew who was filming the bubble net feeding. And that was the only people there watching this. So when I say intimate experiences, it really can be. Culturally, Wrangell has an amazing Tlingit and Russian and British and American history. They have a really wonderful museum there. They have carving sheds and excellent examples of totem poles. Petersburg, on the other hand, is a Norwegian influenced town, and you'll see that as you walk around the streets. There's traditional rose malling, traditional Norwegian foods available in local stores. I guess I should move to the next slide, Valerie. What's new for 2021? Safety is a major concern. We're very small communities. The restrictions for COVID are constantly changing based on what's happening with case counts and what's happening in the communities. So I would just encourage folks to check that out in advance. You can contact the local visitor centers. Petersburg has a website set up for Petersburg COVID info that gives you up to date on what's necessary for travelers. I think the only advice I would have is just, be respectful of our communities when you come in, and just we'd appreciate it if folks followed the guidelines that we have set out just to keep everyone safe, both you and us. And I guess last slide, Valerie. Thanks. We actually did have a couple of new accommodations in Wrangell, Chrome Chasers Fishing Lodge and the Vauxhall B&B. They are opening for this coming summer, so that's exciting to actually still have businesses opening right now. And then in Petersburg, there's a new tour company, and I'm really excited about these folks. It's a family business, and they've lived in Petersburg for, I think it's 3 or 4 generations now. And you can either take a tour on their recreational boat, or they'll take you out on their commercial fishing boat, and you can experience what that's all about. And I have to say that the family that runs it, especially the captain of the commercial fishing boat, is quite the character. And so that'll be a memorable trip for anyone that goes with them. Also, another fishing tour is Tightline River Tours, and that's on the Stukeen River. And they do both fishing and just tours of the river. I also would be remiss if I didn't mention Annan Bear Observatory, and that is outside of Wrangell. And one of the really unique things about there is that you can see brown bears and black bears at the same place at the same time, and that is not a common occurrence here. Usually they separate and don't interact, but at Annan they actually do both use the same stream, and so it's pretty unique to be able to see both of those species at the same time. And I think that's about it.
Thank you so much. Okay, Lori, it's all you with Sitka.
Awesome. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Terrific. Well, my name is Laurie Boysa, and I'm the director of Visit Sitka. And I have to also say thank you, Valerie. This is great that we can communicate with your folks, and I get to see these ladies, which I haven't been able to see because of COVID. So that's great. The first thing I want to say is that people will ask, where is Sitka? Well, we are on Baranof Island, and we are on the western side of Baranof Island, and we're the only community in Southeast Alaska that actually faces the open ocean. We face the Pacific Ocean, so our weather tends to be a little bit different than the other communities. And we definitely have access to some different kinds of animals and different experiences because we are right on the ocean. We have recently created a whole bunch of new videos, and I was trying to figure out which one to pick, but I think we're going to go with the outdoor adventure. So go ahead, Valerie. Great. Thanks. So the first thing, of course, that's on everyone's mind is COVID safety. I wanted to share with everyone that here in Sitka, as they did in Juneau, we've created the Sitka's COVID Conscious Business Program, which is in conjunction with the city. We're working, any business in Sitka can go through this process and they would receive their certification that they're COVID conscious business. When you come into town, you'll actually see those businesses will have their flyers in the windows. That's what that one with the circle is on the top. On top of that, though, because the mandates are no longer mandates, they're just recommendations. Mask recommendations vary by business. So we recommend that everybody carry a mask with you. Many of our businesses are still requiring masks, and you'll see these orange signs in the windows. You'll know exactly who's going to require a mask. But just be prepared. And today, over 63% of Sitka's residents who qualify for vaccinations have gotten their shots. So, and they're slowly working on that. We're hoping to get our number much higher. I just saw today that 89% of our residents who are over 65 have now been vaccinated, and that's really exciting for us. Our restaurants are open for dine-in with lots of spacing, but you can still get delivery and curbside at our restaurants. We also have multiple grocery stores who started delivering when the whole COVID thing happened, but they're maintaining that service now as well. So we have 2 grocery stores who will deliver to vacation rentals and to hotel rooms. So you don't need to go into the grocery store if you don't want to, but our grocery stores are kind of funky and fun, so you probably would want to check them out anyways. And we just want everyone to know that we are open and welcome and are welcoming visitors. Check out our website at visitsitka.org, and you'll also find all this information on there as well. So go ahead to the next slide. So Sitka has actually some really exciting new things going on. And even with the last year, people have been taking time to get those new programs or those new accommodations up and running for this year. So we have lots of private lodging options. That's what you're looking for right now, is a way to bring yourself, your family, and have experiences where it's you and you feel safe and part of the community. So some of the really cool things that we have going on here is you can actually rent your own island with a retreat on the island. We have quite a few of those, actually, people who built homes and then decided, hey, we're going to turn these into places where people can come and stay. The other thing is quite a few of our vacation rentals are now offering perk packages, which means you can choose ahead of time. What would you like? Would you like your refrigerator pre-stocked for you? Do you want to have a s'mores and movie night? Well, they'll make that happen for you. So what you do is you work with your vacation rental owner, and they will create these perk packages for you. The other thing we have that's cool and new this summer is glamping in retro trailers. Now, remember when you were a kid and people would go by with those silver trailers that they'd be pulling behind their car? Well, there's someone in town who's taken a couple of those, and they're working on adding a couple more, and they've kitted them all out, and they're kitschy and they're fun, and you get to stay in your own retro trailer. It's so cool. As far as attractions are concerned, Fortress of the Bear, which is one of our animal rehabilitation centers here, it has a brand new facility with ground level viewing windows, so you can actually see the bears. They're all brown. The brown bears have the ground level windows, and they've learned that people will stand in front of the windows, and so they are going there, but they also do have black bears as well. We've had a couple small boat tour operators and a new flight seeing company who have started up, and they're really there for people who are looking for that intimate wildlife and wilderness viewing experience. Very exciting, the Sitka Music Festival is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year, and they are returning to in-person concerts. So if you are into classical music at all, or even if you're not, you can love classical music by coming and sharing the 50th anniversary of the Sitka Music Festival. We have Zodiac self-drives and a company that's now letting you captain your own fishing boat. We also have a brand new single-lane mountain bike trail, which you saw in the video. And we do have a company in town that is renting electric bikes and electric scooters. And I don't mean like Vespas, I mean those ones that people now in the lower 48 are able to pick up and rent. They're the ones with the single pole and you put your feet on them and you get, yeah, you can rent those in town too. And we have 3 new restaurants in town. Actually, if you count our ice cream food truck, which is brand new, that would be 4. So it's really exciting. We have lots of new things happening here. And I guess in closing, I just want to encourage people to come and share. I was on the last call where Dan Blanchard said from Uncruise made a comment about how this summer is going to be a unique and special opportunity for people because we are not having the large volume of people coming through Southeast Alaska because some of the cruises have been canceled. What you're going to do is you're going to be able to experience Southeast Alaska in a way you will never be able to after this summer. So take advantage of coming to see all of our communities. We're also direct flights on Alaska Airlines. We're connected with the ferry system. And we also have another local smaller air carrier, Alaska Seaplanes, which connects all of our communities together. So take advantage of this summer. Check Alaska off your bucket list and come see all of our communities. And we'll be here to welcome you. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you, Lori. Okay, we have one more presentation. And I won't say that it's possible to compare any of these communities in terms of the personality, but we all have to admit Skagway's got its own particular flavor. So we're going to end with Wendy, and we're going to talk about Skagway.
Hi, Valerie. Thank you for putting this on. This has been so fun to hear about what's going on in all of our neighboring communities. As you said, Skagway is a quirky little place, and so starting right off the bat, our video is a little different. We're actually talking about some of our events because we are delving back into events in 2021. So Valerie, if you please go ahead and start the video. So like Lori said earlier, this is going to be the year to come to Alaska. It really will be. You know, one of the most common questions we get from people coming into our visitor center is, well, we want to do what the locals do. Where do we go to do that? And 2021 that's what it's going to be all year long. You know, it's going to be come in and you're going to be able to sit down in a restaurant and the person over at the next table is going to be somebody who's lived here their whole life and you can have a conversation with them. You can't do that in a normal summer, you know. And the nice thing is we are going to have space for people to come in and to be able to be safe. You know, we usually, you look at this street here, there's usually 10,000 people on this street. Well, you know, we've got 1,000 people in our population, and you're going to be able to have a lot of those streets just to yourself and our local folks. And it's going to be fun. So we are definitely very COVID conscious in Skagway. Our municipality has constantly been updating their COVID-19 information page, and we are in the process of finalizing our tourism best management practices policy that's going to include not just COVID-19 safety practices, but also any communicable diseases. You know, we've dealt with things over the years, and we will continue to deal with issues in a safe manner. So we'll be finishing up that, and our businesses will be signing on for safe practices so that when our visitors come, again, we'll have the decals in our windows saying we are keeping things clean, we are wanting people to wear masks, but also we're going to be having a lot of fun this summer. So if you go to the next slide, please. So I've been really pleased with our Skagway businesses because 99% of our visitors do come off the cruise ships normally, and then we of course get people coming down on the road. With the road being closed and with not having cruise ship traffic, it's going to be a lot of independent travelers, and our businesses are pivoting to help them out. They're working together to come up with packages. Like we've got a Klondike Electric Bikes here in town has just put together a little tour where you can tour town on their bike. They take you to one of the vendors where you can go gold panning, and then they do 3 of our Soapy Smith, Frank Reed shootout, up to the old World War II lookout, and then you end your tour down at the Skagway Brewing Company. You know, you can have a nice beer sampling, so it's going to be a great, you know, like a bro kind of thing or family vacation for you and your girlfriends kind of thing. The company then takes the bikes away, so you don't have to worry about it after that, you know. We've got our Packer Expeditions that, again, normally does kayaking up in the Yukon. They're pivoting to do kayaking lessons so that you can actually and feel confident to develop your own kayaks. The breweries and distilleries are going to be open for samplings, and the Skagway Brewing Company is actually the largest facility in Southeast Alaska. They have the greatest seating capacity, so there's going to be plenty of room, again, for people to safely spread out and really enjoy that wonderful. One of the fun things that they have done is they started something called Street Steer, where, again, because of the lack of the big, we can close off our streets and have street parties. And so that's something we started last year, where the bands will be right out there on their balcony, and we can have tables out in the middle of the streets, block the fun outdoor dining experience with entertainment. Our Days of 98 show, it's one of the, I think, the longest running shows in Alaska. It started in 1923. They again are pivoting, and they're working with some other businesses in Southeast Alaska to bring shows up to do different shows in their theater. So I know that Juneau's Nude and Brood Review will be up here in August to do a show up there. They're also going to be showing movies in the theater. So they're just doing some different things to keep people entertained. So if you want to move on to the next one, then.
Nope, that's it.
I guess that's the last one. Yeah, so I would
anything you want to say to wrap up? Yeah.
As you're starting to plan your vacations, work with the visitor centers, because right now people are really developing what's going on. You know, like under our accommodations, we've got new Airbnbs opening up. You know, so you can have your own little apartment, create your own little bubble, and enjoy Skagway with your group. Our Sergeant Preston's Lodge is opening back up, so those all have outdoor entrances, so you can come and go without thinking about hallway interactions with people, and just giving yourself some nice independence there. So yeah, work with the visitor centers, because our businesses are constantly developing new things right now to adapt to our changing situations. So we're working with our businesses to stay on top of the information for you guys. So get in touch and come see us this summer.
That is a perfect segue. Thank you, Wendy. So again, I will be emailing all attendees, whether or not you're watching this live or on the replays. I'll get you all of the links. So any of the links you saw in those slides, we'll get you the video links so you can watch them again and again, as I have been doing. And we'll make sure that you have the links to each of these destinations' websites so you can reach out if you have questions, review the latest information on their websites. Okay, let's move on to Q&A. I think we had several questions come in, and we also had some questions asked in advance. Let me just turn off the slides. And now we all have much bigger faces on the screen. In terms of questions, before we start the questions, I'm going to just really quickly do the door prize giveaway. And actually, Kara, because you're here, you can help me with this a little bit. So we're going to be giving away 3 prize packs. And in the prize packs, I know for sure we've got tees from like T-shirts from Russ Flying Service and K2 Aviation. We've got Patty sent these incredibly cool air fresheners from Ketchikan. That's, I'm assuming, smell like rain. I haven't opened any of them because I don't want them to start smelling and not smell when someone receives them. And then Kara, you sent something. You want to share what's in there as well?
Sure. We sent some mugs. There's a couple of kinds there. One's like a water bottle, and one's kind of just like a smaller coffee thermal. I think we threw in a few stickers as well, and Tech Tacos. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Tech Tacos. Once you get a Tech Taco, you will always want one. So it snaps together your cords when you travel, whether it's your earbuds, if you don't have cases for them with wired earbuds anyway, or I had a friend of mine that works at the train who told me she always uses hers for her curling iron cord when she travels. I have one at home. Anyway, those are the goodies there.
Perfect. Thank you. So everyone would probably receive something a little bit different because there's a bunch of different shirts that we got from Russ and K2. But we've got 3 prize packs to give away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read off the names of the 3 people I just chose. And then if you hear your name, I need you to go into the chat, which should be to the side or down to the bottom, and let us know you're here. And in between each question, I'll say the names again, just in case you missed hearing your own name. But the goal is we want to give these 3 prize packs away. So if you are Gisela Rodarte, I hope I said that right, Lisa Cow, or Jay Solomon, if you just heard your name, please let me know in the chat so we can give you one of these prize packs. And now let's go to the first question. So let me get over here. Okay, this is one you can all take a minute to answer. You can decide if someone wants to answer. This one comes from Kenneth. And he's just curious, what level of tourist crowds are you expecting this year? You can take a guess. You can just say a percentage of what it would normally be, what you're expecting.
Well, I'm going to say that I have really bad hair going on. I'm going to say that we are actually anticipating probably somewhere in the area of 10 to 15% of what we normally would see. And because we are a destination for Uncruise, Alaskan Dream Cruises, Lindblad, Nat Geo. So our small cruise ship operators are still visiting us this summer. Plus, we have a lot of guests who come to go fishing independently year after year. So without the big ships here, we will have a lot less people, but we do have our regular summer visitors and our small ships that will be coming through as well.
Perfect.
We actually never have clouds, and so I would say, and we only get the small cruise ships. We don't actually get the large cruise ships ever. So it might actually be normal-ish, maybe half on the cruise ship side, but the biggest ship maybe brings in 100 people, so you probably wouldn't, unless you lived here, you wouldn't notice it, right?
Perfect.
For Juneau, I'd say, did I just cut you off, Patty? I'm sorry.
Nope, go ahead.
I should have raised my hand. For Juneau, most of our traffic every year is the large cruise ships. That's the majority of our traffic. I think our expected 2020 was meant to be, I think, close to 1.5 million. So our independent travelers are usually a smaller portion, but actually, really, the hope is that that's growing. You know, we're always trying to grow the independent traveler, so this would be a great time for that to come up. I don't have any numbers right now with that expected, you know, number. I actually was in a meeting just before this prior, and I got asked that same question. Really don't have a way to predict that just yet, but we are talking to our hoteliers, and we're seeing that they're starting to really get booked up. So that means, you know, hopefully we'll see some more in there. Yeah, that's the worst non-answer ever, but
no, I appreciate it.
I was just going to say pretty similar response to what Kara just said. Percentage-wise, cruise makes up 96% of Ketchikan's visitors every year. So our independent, and it's just because of the sheer numbers, but we do have a lot of fishing lodges and resorts in the area, and they are they're booking, and they've got a lot of repeat visitations. So I think that'll build our numbers up. I'm gonna, you know, we also have big cruise ships still on the schedule. That's a big if, but you know, if things end up positively, we could see some towards the end of the summer. But I'm gonna just take a stab at, you know, we're probably going to see about maybe 30,000, 25 to 30,000 visitors coming for all things this year.
You know, the advantage that this is going to present for the independent travelers is you're going to have so much space around you to enjoy when you come up this year. And when you're working with tour operators, when you're working with restaurateurs, hoteliers, they're going to be so happy to work with you to help create custom packages to help you really make the trip that you want to have happen. You know, they're going to help you make your dreams come true this year. And that's going to be the real advantage for the summer of 2021.
I'm sold. Sign me up. I'm hoping to get up into your region. That's my plan for late summer. Okay, so here are some other questions. These are specific ones for various folks on the panel. So this is Rita. Rita asks, if I'm planning on visiting Ketchikan after Labor Day, will I find most things closed, or when do you have a shutdown? Is there not going to be one this year because it's a different season?
As far as September, actually, that's still prime fishing, so we still have visitors in Ketchikan. The seasonal businesses, again, some of the stores and the larger tour operators are going to be iffy based on whether the larger ships come. But we also have a really robust year-round retail section downtown, the galleries that I mentioned earlier, and a lot of operators that are smaller in scope, and they are kind of geared towards small groups. So yeah, you'll be able to see things. Probably not something like the Lumberjack Show, for example, where they depend on volume. But I don't think you'll be disappointed with a visit in September.
Perfect. Thank you. And here's one for you, Kara. Is there a day trip from Juneau to Glacier Bay National Park this year?
Actually, I am told that Allen Marine Tours is going to start doing that in May. Historically, there has not been a boat trip, to my knowledge, going in. But this year, I'm recently told that is actually something that they're hoping to start happen. I think it's going to be somewhere around 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. It's all day long. It's usually a flight, like I said, because it's a long day. And because it is brand new, I apologize, I don't know the details of that, but I'm guessing you kind of cruise around and check out the sites. So yes, Allen Marine Tours.
Perfect. That's actually fascinating. And for those of you who've been on all day, and I'm seeing some comments like, whew, we're wiped out. It was a long day. It was. Zach, who was just on the cruise panel, Allen Marine is part of the same company family as Alaskan Dream Cruises. So I will follow up and see if he can give us some insights and include that, because I personally get a ton of requests for Glacier Bay this year because most people usually visit it on a cruise ship.
Yeah, we usually get requests for that every year as well. And like I said, to my knowledge, there hasn't been a day trip. So this is really exciting because I know the need is there.
Yeah, I think they're going to find they don't want to stop it after this year if they can make it work in their capacity. Okay, so I've got 2 of the winners have already chimed in. So that's great. I'm going to call one more time. We'll do one more question, and then I will draw a new winner, and we can keep working on questions. So Gisela Rodarte, if you are here, please let us know in the chat, because Jay and Lisa have already chimed in. They're going to be getting Alaska prize packs, but I want to make sure we give away all of them, because as much as I would like to keep them, that's not what that's for. So we'll give them away. Back to questions. Okay. This one's for you, Wendy. How can travelers reach Skagway this year?
So there's a few different ways you can reach Skagway. If you want to get to Bellingham, Washington, you can jump on the Alaska Marine Highway and ride all the way up right to Skagway. That's one way to do it. You can also jump on an Alaska Airlines flight. They're having a great deal on a great sale right now. You can fly from Seattle up to Juneau, and then you can hop either on Alaska seaplanes and go from Juneau up to Skagway. You can also get the ferry from Juneau up to Skagway, or there's a smaller vessel called Alaska Fjord Lines that serves Skagway and Haines. And that's actually a real nice tour. They do a little dinner on there, and they do some wildlife sightings. So it's actually kind of a tour up to Skagway, and that's a great route to take.
Perfect. Thank you. You saw my pen pop as I'm writing these notes down, because I get questions and I want to make sure I can point people to the resources. Here is one from Ralph, and I will let any of you who want to chime in. Are mosquitoes a challenge? Are certain regions or seasons more prone to mosquitoes in the Southeast?
I'll jump in real quick and just say that we're really fortunate that we have pretty steady light breezes that helps keep the bugs at bay. And I'll just tell you too that I'm allergic to mosquitoes, so I probably wouldn't live here if it was a big problem. That said, my son, who lives in another region of Alaska, actually has a machine in his backyard that is a motor operated mosquito repellent, because there's so many in that region. So kind of depends on where you're at. As long as there's a little bit of a breeze, they don't bug you too much. And but bring repellent, because it's always good to have on hand.
Yeah, I'm going to say here in Sitka, because we usually have the movement of the air off the ocean, we don't often see a lot of mosquitoes. More likely, you'll be inside a building, and there'll be one, as in every place you live, one that bothers you. We do get no-see-ums. Because we're so close to the water and the beach, and when the tide goes in and out, these extreme tidal differences we have. So we do get no-see-ums, and but yeah, bug repellent. You also locally there are companies that make bug repellent made out of local ingredients, and you can buy your bug repellent here when you get here as well. Stuff that we would use when we're here.
I see lots of heads nodding. I think that that's a common thing. Everyone's got their own recipe for what works in their area to repel their local mosquitoes, what few there may be. Okay, well, that is it. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to stay on for a few more minutes, but you are just to tidy things up and answer final questions. But thank you all so much for joining. I really appreciate you taking the time to share all the information so people can come visit the region this summer. And yeah, I'll follow up by email to say thanks again.
Well, thank you, Valerie.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Valerie.
Yeah, thank you very much.
See you in Alaska.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone. Thank you so much. So one last thing, we have about 4 or 5 minutes left before I sign off for the day. I just want to say a special thank you. First of all, thank you for those of you who have stayed with me through this event. I know some of you have already started signing off, but I really appreciate you taking the time to show up, to learn about what's new in Alaska, to plan your trip. As you heard throughout the day, these destinations, these tour operators, these companies, they rely on tourism. And last year was very, very hard for so many of them. So if we can together, and I say we because I'm also planning a trip, if we can together get the information and travel safely to Alaska, we can make a difference in helping the economy recover. And it is going to be critical this summer so that companies that we love and want to have around for future generations of Alaska travelers or our own return trips are still there when we go back. So that's it for me for now. I'm just going to check if you have any last questions. Feel free to pop them in the chat. If you had a question at some point in the day and it didn't get answered, we have tracked every single one of those questions, and we will reach out to the various person that you were asking and make sure we get you an answer. If you won a prize today, I will reach out to you and get in touch to coordinate shipping it to you. I think that just about covers it.
Got a good question for you.
There's a question for me. Where do I start? Was it the one that says, where do I start planning? Yeah, thank you for asking this question. I don't know your name because you're coming up with a username, not a name, but thank you so much for asking. So if you are needing help planning your Alaska trip, I would strongly encourage you to reach out to me by email. So I can send you my blog, which is full of Alaska resources to help you plan. I've got tons of free resources on my website. It's valisemag.com, but if you just search Valerie and Valise, which you've been seeing on the slides all day long, you will find my website. If you search for me, Valerie Stimmick, you will find my website. And then I also offer a custom Alaska itinerary service. So we will work together to come up with a custom itinerary that I build to what you want to do. I also have ebooks, both a free ebook for this summer and ebooks for sale at reasonable prices. And I have a DIY itinerary planner. So if you don't want to pay for a custom itinerary, you just want a database, it's literally a spreadsheet of all of my favorite places that I love to recommend to people, including my blog posts and custom itineraries. You can just buy access to that and do it yourself. I think that's probably the best place to start. So you undoubtedly have an email from me, hit reply, get in touch. I will get you the resources that I have and we will get you started planning. I will also be sending an email with all of the links and videos. I've been mentioning that, all the links and videos that you saw in the slides today so that you can follow up, watch them, get inspired, finish planning. And with that, I am going to sign off and say thank you so much. I hope to cross paths with you in Alaska this summer, but if not, I hope you have a wonderful trip. Thank you.